Shredder Nation, happy Tuesday! I had to do it, my best Jesse James Jaminek impression. But I, of course, am Heather Sica Leonard. You are head of the ER Shred Board, Chief Shreducator, as I am so often referred to. And I am so excited to play substitute tonight. Tonight, I am substituting for the one and only Jesse James Jaminek, because he is going to further his education to bring us even more knowledge around ER Shred and the protocol. But I am also really excited to play substitute because I know my guest would not be coming to share her story if I was not able to be here live. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our Shredder Nation silent warrior. She's been hiding in the background. Miss Michelle Lesisko. Hi, Michelle. So, Michelle is here with us tonight. I'm so happy.
Hey, Heather. Hi, everyone.
I'm so happy because based on our friendship relationship, I know I can push her a little bit to be out of her comfort zone. And I want to push her out of her comfort zone because her story has been inspiring me for almost the last year. She and I were just talking in the studio that she's coming up on her 1 year Shrediversary, right?
Yes.
But her story started before ER Shred and then has completely exploded since she joined us. So, Michelle, since a lot of people don't know you because you are one of our silent shred warriors, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what you're doing, what you're passionate about? Those questions Sean always loves to ask us on Wednesdays.
So I am from Connecticut, and I know Heather from teaching together for a long time in Manchester, middle school teachers together. I stopped working a few years ago, and I have been doing some educational consulting since, working primarily with a few school districts with some classroom behavior management support, and also working with families and helping them navigate what their kids need in school and at home. My husband is a CPA, and I do a lot of work with tax preparation and accounting bookkeeping work for his practice. And on top of that, I am, as people might have seen some of my comments on Sean's post today with that beautiful cat, I am very involved in rescue work and have fostered quite a large number of dogs. It is a definite passion of mine that I enjoy. And we have many foster failures because of it. And you can see all the members of my pack that I put on Sean's post. And they are also shredders because I have moved them to a completely grain-free diet, and also, which has led to some controversy with people, just like our own shred diet does.
I love that. I love that. I know. I see those puppies that you're showing us all the time, and how much, your foster failures are just your kiddos.
Yes,
and I learned that a lot with you, and I think that's one of the things that I love about ER Shred is we can be our oddball selves, and we have a home that really just embraces us for who we are. And I see that in you. I saw that in you with your relationships with your students. I've seen that in you with how you care for these foster animals, that some go, some come back, and you always welcome them with open arms. And I absolutely love that. And I think that's why watching you in our community and how much you reach out to support people, even though people might not know it because you're not live with us all the time, you're not posting your pictures all the time. I don't know how many people really realize how much you actually do comment and give love and support to our shred community. And I know that I deeply appreciate that from you. And again, oh no, she left me, but that's okay. She'll be back. But that's one of the things that I truly love about this and Michelle's journey. And she's going to come back in the Wi-Fi, and I know she's just going to have to click a button to come back to us. But her journey has been so inspiring. And I really do watch. When Michelle was teaching with me, she was working with some of our more challenging population, and her patience and her understanding and her compassion for them really has, there we go. And here she comes back. We got her coming back, but her patience and her understanding in meeting people where they are, I was a firsthand witness to that because we did share students and we shared those relationships with students. So I truly, I knew it was going to happen. You were going to come right back.
Yes.
So I really do. I do love seeing how you can build those relationships and you build that passion. So, and I got a later question for you. I'm going to circle back to that one. So tell us a little bit about childhood. In the description that you shared with me, you said your weight has been an issue since you were 3. So what do you want to share about that with the rest of us to kind of give us a little backstory on you?
Yeah, so I was an overweight child from the time I was little. At 3 years old, my mom put me in dance lessons to get me exercise because I was overweight. And I continued to be overweight, even doing dance class and doing all of that for years until I was in middle school. And I was always the overweight kid all of childhood, played outside, played softball, did sports. Like I wasn't as obese as I have been in my adult life, but I was always overweight. But I did grow up in a family that ate a lot of pasta, a lot of bread, traditional Italian family. That was a forefront of our food groups. And, so I'm sure that was a large component of that.
And how do you feel that may have impacted relationships with friends, with peers, growing up? Because you were active, you did the dance, you did the softball, but do you think that had some mental impact on you?
I think it started to around middle school age. I don't think it did as much when I was younger because I was active and involved in things. And then, when you hit middle school, a lot of those school sports and they're all tryouts. So I am overweight. I wasn't the best player of those sports that I played. So I wasn't going to be on those teams. The dance became harder, because I didn't, look the part. So I disengaged from a lot of those activities around middle school age. So it definitely, affected my peer group and those aspects.
Yeah. And middle school's just hard.
Yep.
We spent how many years together? I'm 15 years in. That age group just as itself is always we've got our class cut right now happening. But we know middle school is not always the kindest. And if you're not there, a lot of our students too, I think we see they shut down and close off when they hit that age just to be there. It's the hormone imbalance and everything else is happening. Now, as we dig further into Michelle's story, I do want to say the disclaimer is rolling across the ticker that we don't treat, cure, or prevent any diseases. This is Michelle's true story. We're talking about how she addressed her nutrition and her body had some pretty miraculous things happen, but we're not saying the protocol is treating, curing, preventing anything. This is Michelle's story. So you were active and then you started to disengage around middle school. And then this is my funniest part. Around 18, what happened to your eating lifestyle?
So, well, it changed because, I went away to college and I grew up also on a farm and we raised pigs, cows, chickens, turkeys, rabbits, all of which we ate. And we live right bordering the state forest, and my uncle and my grandfather live next door to us, and we have 3 houses all on a piece of property that's pretty large. And they were hunters also, so we had a lot of venison in the house. The days of sitting at the kitchen table plucking feathers out of chickens whose heads had just been cut off I never really enjoyed meat, and just I think the butchering aspects of it, growing up with it, I was like, yeah, I need to do something different. And so I was away from home. And so I stopped eating meat. It had absolutely nothing to do with nutrition. Um, Eventually, I did start eating some meat again. And then I went back to vegetarian and even veganism, more for what I felt were nutritional aspects. But as I've come to learn, that is not what it is all best for my body.
And I'm just laughing because I know we'll talk more about this as we continue to talk. I just laugh because I know some of your culprits, and I know what you lived on prior to ER Shred, so it just makes me giggle.
Yep.
So when you were eating the vegetarian lifestyle, what was your main source of protein? Was it just veggies, or were you supplementing with the soy and the packaged and
a lot of beans and nuts, and I did use a lot of soy products also. Yes.
Yeah. And how did you feel when you were living that lifestyle?
You know, I didn't feel the best. I felt pretty darn crappy. I have a lot of digestive issues, a lot of intestinal issues, and I never had any energy. But again, you know, I was overweight, and every doctor I would talk, every time I talked to the doctor, or just, you know, other adults love to give you advice. You know, the answer's lose weight, you'll feel better. But there's never any solution to, well, how do I lose weight? I eat plant-based, I eat low fat. You know, I don't understand what I need to do differently. Everything I tried just did not work for me.
And so when they were like telling you this, what, and you would share, well, I'm doing that. What was their next recommendation?
Exercise more. Which, when you're overweight, how you feel when you exercise, it's not good. And then I had the respiratory issues, which any type of cardio, severe respiratory distress. So I was kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. So I was like, okay, well, I'm eating the right things, I think, so I'll eat less. And so I really wasn't eating a lot, especially the last few years. When I finally did sit down, as you saw in the write-up, when I finally did sit down with a nutritionist who had me food journal, I, on a daily average, was eating between 600 and 900 calories a day that were all vegetable-based, with a few beans or nut proteins, some grains, and obviously quite a bit of carbohydrates in that. The couple days I felt like I overate, and told her I really felt like I ate way too much that day and I was way off track. It were like 1,200 calories, which is completely nothing. Like I was shutting my whole body down, basically.
And just for those who don't know, when you would have those respiratory issues, how significant did it get?
They were very significant. Like I would develop severe chest pain, difficulty breathing. My oxygen levels were significantly under 90. I was a frequent flyer at the emergency room, because I could not breathe and was in so much distress, fluid on my lungs, and very significant.
And that's, like, I remember I didn't know this protocol. This protocol didn't exist then. And right. I just watched some of those episodes that you had.
Yep.
And it would just crush my heart because it took you so long to rebound from it.
Yes. It would be weeks and weeks on high doses of steroids and other asthma medications to get me back on track.
Right. Yep. And it interrupted everything. It interrupted your life completely. Like, working was hard.
Yes.
You know, you could even get there some days, you know,
exactly.
And it broke my heart for you. Like, we have to find an answer for you because this is no way to live. Right.
Exactly. It was not. It was absolutely horrible.
Yeah. You were in survival. And
Yes.
like I see when you foster the dogs and how passionate you are about them and wanting to be with them, and even that was just this burden.
Yes.
So you meet with a nutritionist and you realize you're eating in a day what I eat on a plate, right?
Yes. Exactly.
Right? Because we don't
Exactly.
have calorie nonsense now. That's all ridiculous.
It
Right?
is. Yes.
We've learned that's not the way of this at
No.
all.
No,
Right?
but it was but it was back then at least eye opening to see, wow, I really am not eating anything. Like I wasn't.
Yeah. And part of that too, I think was part of your respiratory concerns. You just didn't have the energy to eat.
No, and I couldn't digest. So one of the issues you have when you have respiratory issues, it takes 80% of your oxygen to digest your food. So if your oxygen's already significantly depleted and then you eat, you can't digest it, and it puts you in more respiratory distress because all your oxygen is going to your digestive system. So the rest of your body is not getting what little oxygen it had. So when I was in severe respiratory distress and having respiratory issues, I really ate even less because I couldn't eat because I would feel worse. Like, and it would send me to the emergency room.
Oh my goodness. That is just, and you had that. How long do you think that was going on for you? How long do you feel like you lived that?
It started around age 28 when I was starting to have some severe respiratory issues until 2 years ago when I'm 51, so age 49. So it was 21 years.
Oh my God.
Yep.
21 years of doing what media and society tells you is healthy
Yes.
and progressively feeling worse.
Yes.
Right?
Correct.
And not getting answers. And you ask the questions and the answers you get, oh, there she is again. She'll come back. The answer she was getting was just putting her right back in that same place. And so 21 years, like I just can't even process. There she is.
I'm back.
It's all good. All good. We've survived
out.
remote.
I know. The life of remote.
It's all good.
You know, 2 years ago, that would have been so stressful. Like, oh my gosh, what happened? And now we're just so used to it.
So that's a good question. 21 years of living that, did you just get used to it?
Yes. It was the norm. Just, this is how I feel. This is how I am. Just one foot in front of the other. And, and then every once in a while I'd say, okay, I got to do something different. And it wouldn't work. So it was, all right, this is just the way it is. I have these medical issues. I have something with my body that's not functioning right. And it's who I am, and I just need to put one foot in front of the other and just try and function.
Yeah. And it was trying to function. I remember some of those days that it was just trying to function.
Yeah.
So prior to you joining us the end of last February, all right, you met with your nutritionist. You realize you're eating 900 to 1,200 calories of veggies and maybe a little bit of meat at the time.
Yes.
So where did your journey go next?
So what went next was she decided, well, I do need to eat more than once a day. So we developed a plan, or I would try and have something to eat in the morning after I've been up for a while, because mornings are a little rough for me sometimes with my asthma and my allergies not feeling great first thing in the morning. So we said between 9 and 10 o'clock, I would have something to eat. And we would start small. And it started with, just something that was easy that I could do. And I would have something small in the morning. And then we went from there and we added in a midday snack. And then we started looking at increasing those portions and increasing the amount of protein I was having. But again, it was still lean proteins. I was increasing and doing shrimp or chicken breast and lean proteins. She also had me increase some of the calories, fats, but we were looking at olive oils and avocados, which were good, and some added nuts. But so we did that, and then we slowly started decreasing the amount of simple carbs I was doing, like pasta and bread was a big part of, and doing more complex carbs, more whole grains, more like a sweet potato versus just straight vegetables. I'm making some of those changes. So I did see some changes and I did lose some weight, but I still wasn't feeling good. It still wasn't, changing significantly. There was still something that wasn't working well, but I definitely could see the difference as I was increasing protein and decreasing carbohydrates, which she had me doing.
Right. And what I like too is that you did it in layers.
Yes.
Because that's what I like to talk about when I talk about the shred journey is there's layers to all of this because you had so much going on and you lived in that cycle of chaos.
Yes.
Right? For 21 years. You're undoing. You said since you were 3. So you've got over 45 years of this.
Yes.
Right? But you're really focusing on those. We're really looking at those last 21 of the vegetarian lifestyle and the cycle of the respiratory issues and the other issues that were happening. And so I think it helped your mindset get you ready for this because this opportunity was coming. We just didn't know it yet, right?
It did. And you're right, because it just made such sense when you started sharing things with me and said, take a look at this because you're already doing a lot of these things and moving in this direction. And it just made sense once I started checking everything out.
Yeah. And your body, because of what it was dealing with, you had to kind of pace yourself with it so your body could get acclimated to it. Because you couldn't go from 900 calories a day to 2,400 calories a day because you just...
No.
And you, like me, you find your pockets of moments to eat, right?
Yes.
You get busy with the dogs, you get busy with the taxes, you got busy consulting and education, or when you were in the classroom and your kids were always brought back to your room, so you never really had a lunch period, right?
Never.
I remember those days.
Never.
I remember your friends would always come back to you, right?
Yes, always.
And I feel like as educators, that's something that we have this I think nurses are a lot like us in this too, is that you're limited when you have time to eat because you're always putting out fires.
Correct.
And so I think we trained ourselves in the past to, you have this pocket of 5 minutes. What can you get down in 5 minutes?
Yep. So a granola bar. That was my go-to if I did eat something during the day.
Right? That or like a handful of nuts, I think you had at one point, hiding in your room.
Yeah.
But that's all we could do. So you had, your teaching time as well.
Yep.
Your body was just saying, I eat once a day. I'll have a 5-minute snack when there's a moment. Maybe I'll get an opportunity to go to the bathroom too while I'm at it, by the way.
Yep.
And that was all your body got, right?
Absolutely. Yes. And the bathroom breaks took priority over eating.
Right. Absolutely. 100%. 100%. So, and I also think that limited our hydration. That's something I really stink at when I'm teaching is hydrating.
Me too. Yeah, I did too. I find that now with being home, I do a much better job because I can drink consistently throughout the day. But during the school day, while I drank, I was careful about it because those bathroom breaks were rare.
And so that I think has an impact on our health too.
Absolutely.
And we all need to be mindful of that. So you were starting to peel back these layers with the nutritionist, right?
Yes.
And you start making your process. And then there was an appointment, right? With a diagnosis that
that actually came right before the nutritionist. So, so the year before that, I in July, I had another emergency room visit that was pretty severe, one of my most significant. I was having significant issues with my heart rate going extremely high, my blood pressure dropping, then skyrocketing. It was all over the place, in addition to the severe pain in my chest, the difficulty breathing. Went through, CAT scans, all the usual tests, everything. Went home. I was responding to the prednisone, but not as well as I usually do to the steroids. Was still having heart rate issues and blood pressure issues, which was new. Like, I've always had them on and off when I have respiratory distress, but they don't stick around. And this was sticking around, and I was very short of breath, and I was having significant shortness of breath that was different from the usual respiratory distress I have. So my doctor sent me for a full cardiological workup. I did a Holter monitor, I did a stress test, did all kinds of things. And the result was there was nothing wrong with my heart, that it was a respiratory issue, that my medications were possibly affecting my heart rate and my blood pressure, because the respiratory medications will do that. So went to back to a new pulmonologist who did a whole bunch of tests in addition to a ton of blood work. And she was determined to get to the bottom of whatever was going on with me. She was absolutely amazing. But by the time I saw her, so we went from July to September before I saw the cardiologist and had that eval. And then it was November before I saw the pulmonologist and started all those tests. And then in December, she finally came up with rules. She just kept going through ruling out different autoimmune disorders, different types of other respiratory diseases I could have. And she discovered I have a blood clotting disorder. Hence, every time I went to the emergency room, they always thought I had a blood clot in my lungs. They would do a CAT scan. It would come back negative, but blood work would point at it. One of the things I learned from her is that 40% of blood clots in your lungs are missed by a CAT scan. I did previously have a DVT, a deep vein thrombosis blood clot in my leg a couple years prior. So it all fit. It was then that I went to a hematologist, and that's after that she sent me to the hematologist, and that's what we really talked about, the blood clotting disorder, and that was part of the underlying with the respiratory issues.
Yeah. And I am grateful you dug and you got stubborn and you said, there's more here. I'm tired of listening to what people keep telling me because I'm not getting better.
Yes.
Right.
And I was getting worse. That was the worst I had been.
Yeah. And so it was awful you went through all of that to get there, but your willpower and your mindset behind that helped you be prepared for us, because you realized you were digging and pushing for answers and you weren't going to stop. And you realized that the common way wasn't the way, right?
Correct.
The way the mainstream media and society and everybody tells us it is not in fact the way. And you had that learning opportunity.
Yes.
Right. So then you had your nutritionist, you identified, and you started upping your proteins and your fats and removing simple carbs. So is that when we started to connect about the shred?
It is, yes.
So now here's one of the things I will say. I was so excited and proud because I remember before you started your shred, when you were thinking about it, you were in every guide, getting yourself shreducated. So your head was in this game that when you finally said, okay, I am ready, you crushed it.
Absolutely. In general, and I guess that's part of us being teachers, knowledge is power. And the more I could learn, I learned and discovered a lot working with a nutritionist. And so this just added to that. It was, I want to learn. I want to figure out what to do so I do this right. And so I understand what my body needs and what is best for me so I can be healthy. Because, yeah, while I've been overweight and extremely overweight over the last 10 years, it really wasn't about the weight. Yes, the weight contributes, but it was about being healthy and about feeling good. And so I wanted to feel good. And the way to do that is to learn what I need.
Mm-hmm. And so how did what you saw with what was in the guides and what, I know you connect with Jesse because you're a New Englander. So when he is blunt and direct, you're not offended. I'm not offended. This is how we live. This is our area of the woods, right?
Yes.
What did you get when you were hearing all of these crazy antics?
So what I got was, okay, this is different. It's not, it's a little extreme, like initially was what I was thinking. I'm like, but what the hell do I have to lose? And that's kind of, I think, the message that you send and that Jesse very bluntly sends too, that really stuck with me of, it's your life, it's your health, do something about it. And that blunt direct that I got from that was like, all right, what am I waiting for? Why am I sitting here checking it out longer? Just do it. Because that is my type of personality anyway, just like yours, of just do it. Like, give it a shot, try it, learn everything you can first, but then jump in with 2 feet and see if it works for you. And knowing with eyes open that it wasn't going to be easy.
So it's 11 days. So what should people do? What was that? What'd you say?
Suck it up, Buttercup. Sorry, I got to get the whole thing right. Suck it up, Buttercup, because it is so true.
Right? And
yes.
So you sound a lot like myself. You sound like Bob, that you did your homework first before you jumped in, which is totally fine and understandable. I didn't go first. You know this, right?
Yep.
One of my former students from our shared school, her mom went first. Her mom did it when they did the first group shred.
Oh, wow.
And then I said, yeah, I didn't do it. I watched it. I was like, what are they doing? I'm not sure. This doesn't sound normal.
Right?
I have high cholesterol in my family. I don't know that I can do this. And so she did it. She had great results. I knew she did it because she posted her results. And I said, Wendy, should I do it? She goes, just do it. And so because she is direct with me as I am with you, I did it. And look where I am now, right?
Exactly.
So you did your first 11 days. And I know
they were absolute hell, as you know, because I was messaging you constantly about leg cramps, nausea, headaches, everything that was going on. Like, what is going on with my body?
Okay. And we know it. We know it's not all unicorns and rainbows in the beginning.
Correct. And especially, I think, for someone like me who all that crap for that many years, plus my health issues, plus how extreme overweight I still am. Like my starting point was not good at all. So my body was going to rebel in its own way.
Right. You had 21 years in a physical medical hell.
Yes.
That's not going to unwrap itself in 11 days. And I think we all know that. And I'm hoping she reconnects. If not, she'll connect in. So again, it's always keeping in mind, where are you coming in from? Where are you starting? Because, all right, let me
back.
There we go. It's back. It's all good. It's remembering that some people are coming in, like Michelle came in with a 21-year history that she was just starting to work and layer her way through to come here. And so that's really why I'm so excited that you're here tonight, because I think people need to hear that sometimes the 11 days aren't pretty.
No.
Because there's so much your body has been through.
Yes.
But I've also seen you stay the course, and I know what it has done for you. So you were having leg cramps, digestive issues, and you reached out to me. And did I give you support? Yes.
Absolutely.
Right?
Tons and tons. And the keys were, you know, hydrating more salts. Like I just couldn't wrap my head around, especially those first couple shreds, how much salt I needed. Like it just was insane to me.
Why do you think that was so hard to process?
Because salt's bad for us. That's what's been drilled into our heads forever.
Right. Right. Yep. And people, when they're flipping that whole body burning fat for fuel versus carbs for fuel, and Jesse talks about it all the time, you're stripping out your sodium stores. And that's why the amped hydrate is in the package, right? Because it has those electrolytes and those minerals that your body needs. And the other place we get that is the pink salt. And that's why we say salt everything. I have pink salt on my desk. My students think I'm nuts.
Yep.
I'm like, this is how I deal with the headaches y'all give me.
Exactly.
Okay. And one of them, they took all my energy. So I took out a stick of butter and I took a bite and they thought I was nuts. I'm like, that's fine. I don't mind. It's okay. I think I'm crazy.
Well, you can think of it. Well, we thought that before shredding, but that's a whole other issue you and I have.
Yeah, that's 15 years of committing to teaching hormonal middle school children.
Exactly.
Right? Right? We have our own issues if we choose to live in that age hormonal development stage, yes, right?
Exactly.
So we started to bring up your salt. We started to up your hydrate. And yes, then what was happening? How are you feeling? Did it work? Did it help?
It helped. Those things went away. I still, that, first shred, I had moments of feeling a little better, but I really did feel pretty darn crappy that whole first 11 days, but I felt no worse than I already was feeling. So it was just some different kind of crappy feelings, but I was already used to feeling terrible in general. So it wasn't a big deal. So definitely started noticing some changes. Like I felt like I was less bloated. I felt that changes were happening in my body. Little bit more energy, not significant at that point yet. Sleeping a little better, but I didn't have that huge, tremendous change in that first 11 days. It took me a couple shreds to really see the significant, wow, my energy's through the roof. Wow, I really do feel better. Wow, I can feel weight coming off. It took a couple for my body and also for my digestive system to start to regulate a little.
Yeah, I remember that too. And when I wasn't available, did you have other resources?
I utilized mostly you, but I did go into the group and just read things and, hearing other people's things, sought out, videos that others had done in the group, posts others had done in the group about similar issues, and like, okay, other people have experienced this. Maybe I feel like mine might be a little more extreme, but it is what it is. I seem to have extreme everything with my body. So
go big or go home, right, Michelle?
Right. So I was like, it's getting better. So it's got to come in time. This is the most improvement I've had with anything I've ever done. So just keeping at it, kept learning things, looking into more information. Every time somebody shared a link to something or a post about something, I always read it thoroughly. Just, again, that whole knowledge, learning more information about the whys and the hows our bodies function.
Do you think knowing the whys and the hows helped you stick through it when it was hard?
Yes, I absolutely do. Because it helped me see this is the right thing. Like, even though it's hard and even though I might feel like crap in this moment, I have to get to that better place because I've done so much damage to my body and the medications I've taken have done so much damage to my body. My body needs to heal and recover. And it takes time to get there. And knowing that I was doing the right things for my body to get there helped me keep going with it.
Yeah. So you started the steak day plans before you really jumped in. So you went and you did a lot of the elimination.
Yes.
And then I think it was February 26th.
Yes.
Of 2021, you started your first shred and you had your 11 days in hell.
Yes,
and,
absolutely.
And we just communicated. And I really, truly encourage you, those of you that are there and you're struggling, connect to the person that brought you to the shred. Yes. We will help you. And there were times where Michelle had questions and I was only 5 months in. So I would call Susan, I would call Jessie, be like, hey, this is what's going on. This is what I told her. What else she got for me? And I would get more resources. And some of those resources ended up as a guide. Right. That's how it goes. So I would give it to Michelle and then I would organize it in the community and put it in a guide, right?
Yes.
Because those guides are always growing, by the way, people. They're constantly evolving. So then so how long did you stick to the Steak and Shake shred protocol, like as strict to baseline-ish as you could?
I was anxious to add foods back in, even though I probably shouldn't have been that anxious, because the vegetarian in me just keeps coming out. So I really wanted my vegetables, but I think I did okay initially. Like I was like, I'm just going to do one and see how it works. So I stuck to the meat meal and the shakes and continued to do that for a couple months with just adding in like once a week a new food and trying a new food. So just one new vegetable per week to see how my body would react. And because most of those new foods were not good, that's why I continued with just one food.
I remember the one time you missed your raw milk in your coffee.
Yes.
I remember that conversation. I remember that you would get it fresh from the farm stand. So it was quality.
It's grass-fed, raw milk, local, wonderful neighbor farm.
And you would drink it every day prior to shredding.
Yep.
Do you drink that raw milk anymore, Michelle?
I don't at all. My husband does. It sits in my fridge and I sometimes longingly stare at it, but I know my body doesn't like it. So I have no interest in trying it again.
So my reformed vegetarian.
Yes.
I got to ask you, what are some of the things on your list of culprits?
So outside of the dairy, which is bad, my culprits are tomatoes, carrots, raisins, celery, some lettuces, like just about every vegetable. No, mushrooms. I love mushrooms. They don't like me at all. So large list of vegetables.
And I'm over here giggling. And it's not, you know me well enough to know.
I know, because you're also thinking of the tomato salads I used to eat. That was dinner, a tomato salad and a hunk of bread. Tomatoes are a culprit.
Right. And the Italian girl growing up with the tomato sauce for everything, right?
Everything. Absolutely everything.
The Italian, tomato sauce is your gravy for everything.
Yes, it is.
And so I giggle. Yep. I giggle about the fact that tomatoes are on your culprit list.
Yeah. And my favorite vegetable that I probably ate 3, 4, 5 times a week, if not more, because I used to eat it with hummus raw too, were carrots. And they are a huge culprit. They're one of my worst culprits.
Yep. So now there's another part of your story that I get goosebumps. You have 2 men in your home who are meat and potatoes kind of guys.
Yep.
They're stubborn, thick-headed men.
Yep. Yes.
So how has your shred journey over the last year had an reflect on them.
Well, so it's made a tremendous impact. So as things started changing with what I was doing, and the way I changed cooking, because I was the one who cooked in the house, they still wanted things. So I was like, fine, I'd still make some of it for them. But I started decreasing some of it, making little changes. And then they started seeing how significant the change was in me. And I got, maybe I should do that too. Now, they weren't ready to cleanse, weren't ready to do a full shred. They still wanted their vegetables. So they basically are doing more of a maintenance. They're doing shakes, they're doing meat meals with a little vegetable, not as much. No pasta, no bread, no simple carbs. My husband lived on like those Velveeta breakfast bars, Cheerios for breakfast, all that kind of stuff. He completely stopped all of those. We used to snack. Pretzels were our go-to snack because they're low fat, right? They're not bad. All of that completely cut out. Dad, who lives with us, has significant health issues. Diabetic, has heart conditions, high cholesterol, high blood pressure. He's got a stent in his heart. Has been very unhealthy for a long time. He finally watched my husband and I and was like, you know what? I think I want to eat like you guys do. Once he did that, his blood sugars dropped. He's dropped 60 pounds at this point just by doing one shake a day and then meat and vegetables the other meals and meat snacks and appropriate snacks. And he's not diabetic anymore. His A1C is down significantly. His overall health is so much better, barring the nervous system health crisis he just went through that we're having an issue with, but that's unrelated to nutrition. But he's lost so much weight. He's feeling better. He's looking better. All of his doctors are very pleased with how he's doing. My husband, who looked 9 months pregnant because all his weight was in his belly, it's completely gone. His stomach is as flat as it was when we were in college. He's lost about 40 pounds at this point, and it's been tremendous, he says. And he really is feeling the other effects, even though he hasn't cleansed or done a true elimination. He talks about feeling more focused, being able to sleep better, and having more energy. And I think that's phenomenal, because to hear him say those things really solidifies for me that this is what we need.
So now that you're talking about John, tax season 2021 versus the start of tax season 2022, with the mental clarity that
he's so much calmer. Oh my gosh. He's like, I'm ready for this. Like, yep, it's going to be a lot of work. It's stressful. There's a lot going on, but I can handle this. I'm focused. I'm organized. His office is more organized than I've ever seen it. Like, he's so on point and feeling good and energized.
Right? So you feel like this tax season is going to be a little bit better than last year?
Absolutely. So much less stressful.
And then I've got one more. You posted about this in the group, but I don't know that everybody watching got to see this. When Dad was in the hospital dealing with his issues.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I remember the head of dietary had to come have a chat with him.
Yes.
Can you share a little bit about Dad's empowerment?
So it started at the hospital. He was on a diabetic and heart healthy menu, which, when you look at the menu, the choices were horrific. And so he did his best, like ordering certain things, but then they would send extra food and he didn't eat it. But then some of it, like, he still doesn't have a complete understanding of some of the things that we eat that are different than what the hospital would serve. So like their turkey is more of like a deli meat turkey. It's not fresh turkey. Their bacon is full of nitrates and sugar and not very high quality. But he at least knew to like try and get bacon and eggs or sausage and eggs for breakfast, not the oatmeal, not any of that. But they would add, like the one day they literally, and I had a phone conversation with them. They're like, we're just going to send more if you don't order it. He needs to have more carbs. I'm like, no, he doesn't. He ordered a chicken parm with broccoli on the side. They send him pasta, they send him bread, they send him applesauce, peaches, and so much other stuff that I don't understand. And he didn't eat any of it. Then we got to the rehab nursing facility, and almost every meal there was either a sandwich or a pasta dish. And he kept sending it back saying, I don't want that. And they had a dietary came in to meet with him to go over what he would eat so they could start sending him appropriate food because he wasn't going to eat it. And they were shocked at how stable, because they took his being with a history of diabetes, they were taking his blood sugar 4 times a day. His blood sugar was stable every single time they took it, and they were shocked. And I don't understand how a medical facility could be shocked at that.
Isn't that crazy?
Yep.
Isn't that crazy?
Right?
Yes. It's
absolutely.
Just, I am just so grateful because you took the time to learn, and look what you were able to teach by example.
Yes. And it's taken a lot to explain because, and I think that's a big part with a lot of people too, of that whole, and the posts I saw today about explaining to people why fats don't make you fat. Like it's that whole concept, and it's understanding that sugar and bread is sugar. Like dad couldn't understand that initially, and explaining all that and why that, and then that turns to fat, that fat is not the enemy, because he's been told by cardiologists to not eat red meat, not eat butter, not eat those things, that now I'm feeding him, yet he's doing better. So I think learning that and understanding that and explaining that, like, it's very challenging to undo. Dad is 75 years old, and even, myself and going into this journey at 49, that many years of having this, what's good and what's bad drilled into your head, to look at it from a different perspective and change that and say, that wasn't right. And learning why it wasn't right is a process.
Yeah. And I think you experience a lot of what I experience, is that people who love us and they're watching and they come from a well-meaning place don't understand.
Correct. Absolutely.
And so I know you have some of the same struggles that I have, that we've done our research.
Yes.
We have lived the protocol.
Yep.
We have our results. We have our, you've got all these test results. You've got all this blood work to go back to know that your body is healing. And yes, the disclaimers are running across the ticker, and Sean also dropped them in the chat. So I do see them in a couple of places, and it's just making sure that we keep teaching.
Yes.
And as middle school educators, we know they're not going to learn it in the first lesson.
No.
They may not get it till the end of the quarter. They may not get it till the end of the year.
Even I myself at times still, a year later, question things at times, or there's things that I'm like, why? That doesn't, it just doesn't make sense to me. Let me learn more about it, and just that constant learning about why, and the whole understanding that's been hardest for me is understanding why most of these vegetables are not good for my body, when vegetables are supposed to be so good for you, and learning that vegetables today and the way they're grown and the way we've destroyed our environment has made them not as nutritious, and they're not as good for us. And then in addition, my body not liking some of them.
Yeah, you make me giggle when you say you've gone off track because you added too many vegetables and you need to rein in your vegetables to get
I
yourself.
know you love those messages from me yeah, I just ate a whole plate of cauliflower and the tiniest little piece of meat because I want the cauliflower, and then I just get into a spiral pattern of the vegetables are the problem for me. I never was a sweets eater. I don't eat cake, candy, and that kind of stuff, cookies. Vegetables are my Achilles heel, and I have to be very careful because they grow on the plate because I've been doing much better because I didn't do well from September to December with that. I just kept too many vegetables. And I really started again the past month doing well with focusing more on meat and shakes. And I started this weekend, I added back in a vegetable. I had some asparagus one night, and then I found myself the next day going, okay, I want to finish that bowl of asparagus that's in the fridge. I don't know why. I know I shouldn't, but the problem is, while it's not bad for me and my body will be okay with it, the problem also becomes though I fill up on the asparagus and then I that takes the place of the meat, and I have to be very careful with that.
Yeah, because I remember probably your second or third shred. We were really digging into you not eating enough.
Yes, because that's exactly, I don't, and I wasn't eating a big enough portion of meat as it was. So then when you put vegetables on the plate too, I eat even less meat.
Right. And so we got that. So we have a few minutes left. What are your shred results? Like to date so far, what are you looking at?
To date so far, I'm down about 127 pounds total from my whole journey. From shredding, I am down. I started at 320 and I am 246. So I'm down about 80 from my shred. So quite significant. Still have a really long way to go. But significant.
And so the next thing we're going to work on shredding is you holding yourself to the end goal and not celebrating where you are right now.
Yes.
Because 125 pounds is flipping amazing. And I am so proud of you for that. So your next shred, you and I are going to be chatting about celebrating what you have done and what you have accomplished, understanding that you have the tracks and the tools, because you will get there. But you had 21 years.
Yes.
You are in your first year on the other side.
And it's been a long road, but it's a good one.
100%. This is just year one.
Yes. I am definitely looking forward to this year and moving forward with everything and building up more and more energy.
Yep. And then we'll set some new goals. But my personal goal for you and for all of you that are saying, I'm not there yet, stop and celebrate the journey and the progress you have made, because it is 1000% worthy of celebrating. And that's why I pushed Michelle out of her comfort zone to make her come here tonight. That's why I did what she didn't want me to do, and I didn't care, and put her side-by-side pictures in the community. So if you did not see them yet, she sent me her starting picture, and then she sent me an updated picture, and I put those bad boys in a photo grid side by side, and I sent them back to her and said, you need to celebrate, because that is 1000% amazing. And so if you didn't see those transformations, go look for them. I posted them this afternoon in preparation of this call. And then look in the comments, because in the comments is her before she even started her shred journey. and you will see that 125-pound loss, which is absolutely incredible and something you should be celebrated for. And I am so grateful for you. I am so blessed to be on this journey with you. I am so proud of you for coming out of your shell with me and letting me kind of push you out of your comfort zone, because seeing all of the people who showed up here tonight and who are going to continue to show up to watch your story, you have impacted a lot of people, my friend. And as Sean put it, you have gone through that next rite of passage, being an ER Shred Warrior superhero by coming here and sharing your story. So thank you for being here with us.
And I appreciate you pushing me, because that's the only way I get things done, as you know.
Well, sometimes you need just a little bit of Sica love, and I got your back.
Exactly.
I got your back. So thank you so much, Michelle. Tomorrow night, we have our ER Shred Come Alive call on the Zoom. Come on and join us. If you're ready to share your story, and maybe not go as deep as Michelle and I did, but give us a 3 to 5 minute, make sure you reach out to myself or to Sean. Get yourself on that Come Alive call. Get that rite of passage and become that ER Shred warrior. And then you've got Thursday night, if you want to learn more about the business, Bob Sibright is going to take you deeper with how you can get compensated and get a thank you from Isagenix for just sharing your story and sharing the shred. So have a great night, everybody. Thanks so much.